Just kidding.
No.
We will now begin our midweek press conference with head coach Ari Weidman and open the floor for questions.
All right, Coach, well, a tough one in the opener. The second one got a little away from you, but what's your takeaway from the quick two-game pocket of conference games?
Yeah, obviously heartbreaker for sure Thursday. Just ability to learn to move on, and then just have to get back to sharing the basketball a bit more. I talked with the team, just 6 assists in 2 games. We've got to get back to sharing it and getting open shots. When we won, our percentages were high from the field because we were able to drive and kick, and our shots were more balanced on our chart. Like our top 5 guys were getting 10 to 11 shots, and then in the last couple, 2 people have been taking a majority of our shots, so it's got to become more balanced.
So when you talk about so few assists in those couple games, what does that tell you, and what's your message to them?
Yeah, it tells me that we're just not playing as selfless as we should be, and that's on me. So we emphasize in practice a lot, extras, one mores, whether we're doing shooting drills and we were playing yesterday. So just trying to reward that, double points for those type of scenarios, and just getting our kids to take open ones, and we don't want to take contested shots ever. And so we've taken more of those than not lately. So just harping on that.
Yeah. So you have, in the time I've gotten to know you and hear you talking right here, you have a very analytical approach to a lot of things when it comes to basketball. Is there a happy medium between that and go play girls? Because sometimes maybe they get caught up in coach wants this or wants that. How do you approach that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty balanced in like analytics and feel, just because I played. So but we also have to pay attention to our shot charts and our numbers. And so I showed them data and film so they can see it. And I know that we've had this conversation, like they understand what they need to do. And now it's just doing it in game, right? You know, I think we don't want to get caught up in stats. We want to get obsessed with what impacts winning more than anything. And I just talked to them just essentially about how the world is, though. Like everything's can be about me, but you've got to focus on the team and what helps the team. And so assists, that tells you the story if you're a good team, because you're creating for others as well, right? And so just have to keep harping on that message.
So how about the winning aspect? You picked up a couple wins in the Midwest, and you come back and lose a couple. How much does this team still need to learn how to win and then sort of run with that a little bit, whether it's the Seattle game or the games then after, before you get back in conference play? How do you sort of, get them back to that place?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, in tight games, being able to execute and take care of the ball. And so we're still learning some of those lessons. We learned them early, but that's just a continued thing, like to learn how to win, and that takes a lot of experience. And so we try to create those scenarios in practice, though, whether putting them in special situations or moments where they're down or up and have to close out segments. And so we rep those things before they happen, but we have to just continue to do them. And I thought that our group, they kind of found their way with that, and we were just playing like a lot more together, and I think we just have to get back to that. Like I told them, it's not really a secret. It's just you have to get back to, first off, sharing the ball, but then also making the shots. Like it's no secret. Like Santa Barbara hits shots. Like some of the teams we played, they're able to hit shots, and our top people have to hit shots. And I'm confident though in that because they're in the gym, and so it's like they're a good group who works hard. And now they just need to, like, there's always like a synergy and a rhythm behind it when it's like a good shot and it's been sprayed around multiple times. When it's just one person driving and it's forced, I don't think the basketball gods are going to reward you. Like it's got to be clicking and things like that. And so I know that they're fully capable. It's just, again, me harping on that and then making sure that they're doing that every day. But I think that they're in a place where they can win games, and there's still a lot of basketball ahead of us. And we've only played 9 games, so ideally 20 plus more. So just have to continue to grow and get better.
You talked about close games and winning close games. So let's go back to the CSUB game for a moment.
Yeah.
And then watching that last possession, they didn't even get a shot off. And so I'm wondering if there was they felt denied by the shot, or somebody didn't want to take the shot, or somebody has to learn to be willing to fail but take that shot when it's there? What did you see in that possession? What did you say to your girls about it?
Yeah. I mean, after we executed the slob, and we got the stop, like when I drew up the slob, I said what I wanted in transition. And I love that Mo drove it, and she hit Tenna underneath, and she just threw it like for a drift that wasn't there. And it's like, yeah, you have to go up and what I drew up, though, I wanted the ball in Morgan or Cece's hands, and we just didn't get organized quick enough in the 7 seconds we had to advance it. And so obviously I was devastated, they're devastated, but yeah, you want to get a shot up in that scenario, and so that wasn't ideal in that situation. I think that Cece for sure, Krishan Coleman is open to taking those shots, and like we have established some trust in like those moments, and that's why she took the shot in the slob. I do think Mo's capable. I think Maria Diaz is capable, but yeah, there's a certain Marley can be right. There's a certain level of like dog and killer, like I'm gonna take that shot, and so that happened to us against Utah State. Like Gales was ready to take those shots. That kid took that shot against Northridge. 33 even got hot late, and I think you have to have some courage to like love those moments. And so I know we have some kids that can do that, but again, how many times have you done it in real time? Like practice scenarios are one thing, but yeah, that was hard to move on from that one just because we didn't get the shot off.
What do we know about Seattle?
Seattle, I mean they're pretty well balanced. They have some bigs who can pop as well, so kind of like Santa Barbara where they can be on the perimeter, but they're drive and kick, and so we have to protect the three-point line, and something that we have struggled with at times is protecting the three-point line and the key guys who are going to score, like holding them to their numbers or less. And so they're a team that can shoot it relatively well, but there's somebody who we can push and transition on. We can crash the boards. We can speed the game up. And so I'm excited about that, and I look forward to playing a significant amount of players so that we can get back to a faster tempo. Because, I obviously I like when our teams score, and like when we're in the 70s, 80s, like that's ideal, right? And so but they have some key players, and so it's just like any other game plan. Like, will you stick to knowing personnel? Can you protect the paint and protect the three-point line? And so I think it'll be a good challenge. I'm ready to get back on track.
I know you're playing on the road this week, but those were the first two games you had last week at home, and then you have two more after this game in Seattle. Is it growing on you as far as this not being able to win at home? Is that meaning anything at all at this point?
It's tough because you want to win at home. Like you're supposed to. In my mind, it's like win home games, right? Protect your home court. I'm like, is there a curse or something? Like I'll mess with them, but I think we've just got to perform. It doesn't matter where you are, right? And I'm happy that we've been able to perform on the road, but we've got to do a better job protecting home. Like I didn't think initially, and I talked with the team about this, like Northridge, in general, it just felt weird. Like the first couple minutes, it took minutes for both teams to score. I was like, what is going on? We've got to get back to our faster starts, and we've got to protect home. Like I don't want to think too much about it, but to me, I told our team, like, we want to produce a good product, and also we want to represent our team, our university, and our community at a high level, and people pay their hard-earned money to come to games, and so I want to make sure that we're performing at a really high level, even if we don't get the outcome we desire. I want people to know that, and I've got some feedback that we do that, but I want it to be so consistent, and I'd love to finish and close these games at home for our fan base as well.
What kind of outreach are you doing more for home? And maybe this is more a question for the marketing side of things, but just what do you feel your team is doing to get the word out? You're here, you're playing, things like that. Because I know community was one of the things we talked about when you first got here.
Yeah, and that's always going to be consistent, like doing community service. and reaching out to all the people the organizations we've helped, whether it's schools. I'm glad we have Education Day on December 17th, I believe, that game. And then just, meeting people in the community. Everywhere I go, we're always promoting, our games and schedules and things like that. And I think our fan base has increased, like ticketing wise, but I just want to make sure that, we're always doing community service. I think that's the best way for us to meet people, serve others, and then ideally they'll come back. But obviously I want to see you win, right? So
Yeah.
winning is going to breed more fans.
And then, Seattle, you are going on the road and where you had some success on the road. What is it about this team that's, you really get a chance to really get this team to bond together? Because obviously it's always a big thing to, with rosters and the way things are these days with people coming and going.
Yeah.
You still got to try to get people connected.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've done an okay job on the road, getting a couple wins and bringing that team together. But what will Seattle be like in terms of that? Is it just another chance to do some team bonding, and
Yeah, always want to do some team bonding and ideally take them to Pike Place. Like, we'll stay downtown, but go down there. I know it's a crazy time because our kids are in finals and everyone's finishing those things up, but we want to always carve out time for that. So we'll have some team dinners and go downtown with them. And yeah, that is just such a challenge now. Can you keep a group connected, playing for one another? That's an ever-present challenge now. So always we'll try to emphasize that. And like, I'm even going away from mentioning individual stats. Like my coaches never did, and now it's like you've got to emphasize everything that reflects the team, because everything else, outside noise, will tell you it's about the individual, right? And where can I go next, or where can I do this? And it's like, can you just be present where you're at and be grateful? And when you're great where you're at, then maybe things come. But can we do that as a whole society, not just basketball? But that's the challenge for sure.
yeah, I'm just looking for little things that maybe can spur something in this team, because it's tough just to get a team together when every year it seems like there's a new team kind of get together.
Yeah, so we'll always do things together, and I like this group. Like, they're really good humans, and then so we'll do everything on the road. We'll have our Christmas party, everything that that we would typically do together. So our road trips that we went on, like, all I asked was everyone to be super invested, from like me to the manager. Like, I know, like, this will be the clean version, but I'm a butt kicker. Like, I'm not sort of soft, I'm a butt kicker. And so I'm like, from top to bottom, will every single person be that? From whether you're cleaning the floor or you're on the bench. And I thought that everyone really locked into that. And I was like, every single person has to do that every single game, especially on the road, because you're already down 10, right? And so you have to treat it like that. And I thought when we're all butt kickers from top to bottom, then I know that we're special. So I'm going to keep demanding that.
Yeah. Very last thing I will ask is, again, it kind of goes back to his questions on the Northridge. Obviously, when you have a game like that, how much does the next practice focus on that kind of situation where you are focusing on the last second shot? I mean, imagine every practice has a little bit of that, but how much more does that get emphasized next practice, or in this week leading up to Seattle?
Yeah, we talked about it the next day. We do special situations, and so we'll continue to have to do them. Like, I know that potentially every game in the Big West can be very close and come down to the wire because there's so much parity. And so we have to do specials every day, and we'll continue to carve out time to do that. So, yeah, that's critical.
All right, you said butt kickers from top to bottom. Have you seen that take form at all?
I saw it when we beat Wichita State and Nebraska Omaha, Now we got to get back to that. And you have to do it for 40 minutes at this level. Like, you can't really take a playoff, and especially you got to win three out of the 4 quarters to have a chance. And that's on, like, if I'm honest, a lot of that has to be, it's on me too, to keep being on them, but finding the balance of also, like, celebrating them too, because I am a perfectionist, right? So yeah, everyone do that, and then having this ability to move on is what I'm learning too. Like, move on, get better. There's still a lot more ahead, and sometimes you'll just zoom into the present moment, and then it's like I'll be like, so it's having the bounce back ability we talk about with them as well, and so we've got to get back to that, like having that butt kicker mentality every possession.
Okay, final one for me, and that would be, we sort of understand your vision, and we've seen it in play a little bit in terms of what you want this program to be. What with this group, whether the way they're playing or otherwise, some other intangible, gives you reason right now for optimism? What is that?
Yeah, I'm super optimistic just because they have the grit, right? Like I just the fact that like we're off today and they're in finals, but I've already seen 7 people in the gym shooting, and so like that tells you, I think from a culture standpoint, that they have some resilience and grit to keep going. Maybe you don't get the outcome that you desire, but you're still focused on the process, and that's something that I'll always lock into. You are your habits. And so we have to have really good habits, and I'm proud of that they're still working,
Good.
Cool.
Thank you,
All
Coach.
right, thank you.
We're now ready to resume our midweek press conference. We're joined by head coach Mike Scott, and we'll open up the floor for questions.
Coach, your takeaway from the two-game conference, lock end of games yet, your takeaway from those two?
We got to get better. I thought some adjustments that we got to make in terms of how we guard the ball screen and some of these actions. But I thought our team got better in both games, even though the score didn't really show what we were working on.
And so because, being there and watching the Santa Barbara game, the energy was certainly there, the
Yeah.
effort was there.
Yeah.
But the end number was obviously not a good one. And I'm just sort of wondering, what are we seeing there that results in that kind of result, even though they're playing hard?
Well, we got our rotations right. We rotated where we were supposed to. We talked on defense. We had some guys in low man, and we had some opportunities to kind of make some plays that we just didn't make. Steps slow in some of the things that we've been working on, but we were there. And when I say we're getting better, those are the things that I'm looking for. Like we changed a little bit of a style of rotation on the defensive end since coach had left, and these were some of the things that we weren't doing in the past that we had started to do. But we run up into a Santa Barbara team that put 4 or 5 shooters on the floor at the same time, and they shot the ball really well.
And I mean, as you just pointed out, give Santa Barbara some credit. Sometimes their ball movement was elite. Yeah,
absolutely. And Coach Pasnick does a really good job of preparing those guys and having those guys ready for some of the actions and rotations that we'll be in. But again, like I said, I think me making some adjustments in the second half and kind of moving some things around and doing some different things in terms of like picking up the pace defensively and then maybe slowing it down a little bit defensively are all things that I think I'll make the adjustment to as we move forward.
Is there any thought to, you said pick up pace, I was almost thinking you might say pick them up full court, because when teams get comfortable like that, they just come down, they run their stuff, and they're having a good night, maybe just pick them up in the backcourt and try to get them tired and rotate guys. When your guy's tired, get them the hell out, put another fresh guy on them. Something, instead of throwing 5 fastballs, throw a changeup or something like that,
Yeah,
and I'm just sort of wondering what your thoughts are in terms of, especially when you think that at this moment, they're the better team.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by pick up the pace defensively, which we did in the second half, and we started to turn them over a little bit and got the basketball into some guys' hands that's not accustomed to handling the ball. That's what we did second half wise, but again, by that time the game had the guys were hot and kind of started to continue to hit some shots. But that's the thought process, just making sure our guys are comfortable in what we're running and the rotations and how we're playing in terms of style of play and what our full court pressure looks like, what our full court man looks like, what our full court zone looks like. So when I say pick up the pace defensively, those are the things that I'm talking about, and those are some of the adjustments that I felt like when I went back to critique myself that I felt like I should have made earlier in the game.
Anyway, you slice it, 109 points doesn't look good.
Yeah.
When you looked up, you saw it, what were your thoughts? You knew you guys played hard.
Yeah.
So you looked up and you see 109. What do you think?
I mean, obviously I was pissed, but again, as in the time that we've been together and the time that we're trying to spend on, okay, what are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish here defensively? Like, what is our goal? And what does the style of play look like? And those are the things that we were still trying to figure out. Going into conference play, I wanted to kind of flip it a little bit, and we did. But like I said, I wanted to pick up the pace, and I didn't. So those are some of the stuff that I critique myself about. But again, I do feel like we got better. I felt like our guys were playing hard. I felt like the energy was there. I felt like those guys were talking. I mean, it kind of hurt us that Tom got hurt, rolled his ankle. We're still missing Caleb, who's another Tom mark essentially on the floor. So I'm still excited about our guys and what we can kind of get done. It's just a matter of kind of putting it all together and seeing what the finished product look like.
Yeah, CJ had another nice game, but a nice showing by Mike Price.
Yeah. Again, it's coming along, right? We've been talking about Mike and talking about how good he has a chance to be and how special I think he can be. And he's starting to show it. He's starting to come into his own. I thought CJ the same. Like, CJ has been there for us. We need him to be a little bit more consistent in terms of what he's given us. Same thing with Dalen and AJ George. So these are things that we're just trying to continue to get to work on and continue to grow as a team.
So now North Dakota State rolls in, and they're pretty much shoot the lights out type team too. They'll shoot from the locker room.
Yeah.
What about that challenge?
We're ready for it. You know, it's always good to have a team that you play like that against Santa Barbara, and then you come in and you follow it up with another team of similar opponents, because then you get to work on some of the same rotations. So I'm looking forward to it, excited about it.
All right.
What other takeaways do you feel having 2 games in conference to kind of gauge, and then looking and seeing what other teams did? What are you thinking about the conference now? And is there any difference? I know everyone's got a couple weeks now before January comes, but not only your 2 games, but just seeing what the other teams did in the league. What are your thoughts? Has anything changed in any way?
Not a lot, man. I think our league is really good. I think when people think about the Big West, they don't necessarily think about how skilled and how we're in this league. And it's something that, you know, we've always kind of talked about, even, you know, us joining the Big West. So not in terms of a big difference of what I've seen. What I will say is I know that we can't give up 109 points and win in this league. You know, again, it's, you know, us going back to the drawing board and kind of understanding, like, okay, we can press here, we can tailor off here, we can go zone here, we can speed the game up here, we can slow it down here, are all some of the adjustments that I'll look in the mirror and make on my end as well.
What about the Northridge game? Anything that you took from that? I mean, the Santa Barbara game's most recent, but the Northridge game, you don't want to forget that. What did you see out of that? What did you specifically like? What did you feel that you needed to take from that game, you know, and try to apply it against Santa Barbara?
Yeah, for me, man, it was almost the opposite, right? Like, I took what the Northridge game kind of did to us and thought about what we would do differently in Santa Barbara, and it was almost the opposite in terms of just guarding the ball screen and how we wanted to kind of do some things. I thought Northridge did a really good job of getting downhill and forcing some action in the paint, which punished us. And then kind of the same thing going into Santa Barbara. I thought it was almost the opposite, right? Like, we were more protective of the paint, and they shot the lights out of the ball, right? So as a coach, you just kind of look in the mirror and say you got to do a better job of understanding what they're trying to attack and trying to take that away and making an adjustment better for us.
Like, going back from conference now back to non-conference, how different is it? Is there any, I don't want to say pressure off just because it's not a conference game. Every game matters. But what is the difference? What is the vibe that changes going from that conference stuff to back to non-conference, and kind of what you really want to work on these next couple of weeks to get ready for when conference comes back?
I wouldn't say there's a big difference. The thought process of it being a conference game is a little bit different, but in terms of just our preparation and what we do every day, it's still the same. You know, we're going to treat North Dakota State as if they were a Big West team. And we're going to try to beat them as if they were a Big West team. You know, so like our preparation and our the way we approach it and the way we go about it will still be the same. The thought process is still to go out and win a game. You know, it's the film sessions, the talking with our guys, all that stuff stays the same. It's just just a non-conference game.
Yeah, and I know obviously each of the teams you have in non-conference are also going to bring something different that you want to see. Like, maybe it'll be something you can see in a Big West team, and this is a chance to get better against that.
Yeah.
Some of the specifics. Anything you're looking for out of North Dakota that you think can compare in some way to what you'll still see in conference?
Absolutely. To me, North Dakota State is closer to Irvine. They're very, very disciplined. They run when they need to run. They actually throw the ball inside and try to play through their big guys. They're whatever their offense is, they run it to ad nauseum, right? Like, they don't kind of deviate too much from what they do, but they all know their slips and their back doors and their cuts and things of that nature. So I think it's a great preparation game for a team like Irvine, a team like Santa Barbara, that run their offense the way they do. So like I said, I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to continuing to get better through some of these games, and be prepared for it January 1st when we go see Irvine and they come to our place.
So, Coach, let me ask you along these lines, and this is more of a curiosity question. It's going to sound like a second-guessing question, and it's not. It's more of just a curiosity thing. And I can even go back to last year with Jamel Jones. Your last 2 opponents, because everybody has a top guy on your scouting report, then this is the top guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that top guy went for 27 at CSUB. The guy, his dad,
Larry Hughes.
What,
Larry Hughes, yeah.
Dad was in the NBA, okay.
Yeah.
And Mahaney, top of your list, he went for 30.
Yeah.
How do you take plan A away from these teams and make them go plan B like teams tried to do with Jabel last year?
Mhm.
How do you minimize their contribution? Even if you get beat by somebody else,
Mhm.
you just say, you're not beating me and you're not beating me. How can you make that happen?
A few different ways. Sometimes you just deny them the ball the whole game and you kind of don't let them touch it. Sometimes you put length on them and you put size on them. And again, like I went with length and size with Tom Mark on both of those guys. And I thought they had a field day shooting the ball, which put us in rotations and things of that nature. So again, it was just for me, depending on who the kid is, or we had a kid come in who was averaging 20 something in Western Illinois, and it was kind of the same thing. Let's put Tom Mark on him and let him guard him. But then they kind of put him into some screening actions off the ball that kind of put us in rotation because I forced our guys to switch, and we got different guys on them. Those guys got open. So for me, it's trying to not let them guys get off to a good start, but it'll be a game-by-game basis on what do we do? Do we just take the guy away completely, or do we put a different player on him that's going to guard him a little better? That depends on who that star player is or who that top scorer is.
But is there a mindset of when the ball goes inside or even to the wing, don't help, stay with that guy? Stay with Mahaney, stay with Hughes. Don't leave them. I don't care where the ball goes. You stay with them.
It is a mindset of that, but again, it depends on how good that inside guy is. So, we didn't think that Santa Barbara's bigs scored that well, right? But they scored it really well against us. So you would say that, and then we giving up layups at the basket. You know what I mean? So then it kind of forces you into some different rotations. So again, it's a game-by-game basis in terms of who that player is. Like North Dakota State has a really good guy inside that can really, really score it. Their 4-man can really score it, and their 5-man can really score it. But then they have a guard that really shoots the lights out of the ball, right? So these are things that, again, we'll just make the adjustment in terms of our rotations and where we're rotating from and who we're rotating off to make that adjustment to whoever's, kind of got it going.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah.